Saludos, muy buenas noches y bienvenido al programa de La Verdad es la Verdad. But today we go in English. Today we got to do and show in English because we got someone special that I met 2 days ago, and it's going to join us tonight, and we're going to talk. We're going to share the night with him. I'm sorry for those people that don't understand English very well. Sometimes we got to do this because we live in United States of America and we got to speak English, right? So that's the thing. So let me bring Mike Magnificent. That is the guy who I met recently in one of these activities that we were recently here in Viera. Hi, how you doing today, Mike?
Better. I'm real pissed off, like
You're
you are.
pissed off.
I'm pissed off, just like you and plenty other Americans.
Yeah, we are not too happy, right? This situation with the impeachment, in a way, but it has made us stronger. I think it has made a stronger case for the president, even though he's going to have that mark in his history. But I think it's making him stronger. But we before we start talking about that, Mike, can you tell us a little bit about you, what you do, your channel, how people could find you online, and all those different things?
Yeah, so I'm a YouTuber. I just started doing this full time probably about 2 months ago. It's been tough sledding with YouTube and their censorship and algorithms and all that stuff. But this is my full time job. I'm just a political analyst. I'm a journalist. I'm an activist. I do all the things politically. But you can find me on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, all the social media platforms. If you just type in Magnificent 813, I'm also on BitChute. If you type in Magnificent, you can find me there.
Hi, and hi to everyone that is connected. Thank you for being here. Remember to sharing the show. Remember to subscribe. Remember to give that little bell the click, because if you don't do that, you won't get my notifications. Remember sharing as much as you can the video so all the people know that we are already here. So how long have you been doing this, Mike? Like on and off, like how long you've been actively, you just said you went actively full time doing this, but how long were you doing this before you went full time?
Sure. Yeah. So I've been politically active and interested in politics ever since politics was interested in me. That's what I like to tell people. It's like, you may not be interested in politics, but politics are interested in you. And right after Trump got elected, I feel like I was shaken awake and I looked around and I saw what was going on. So right around the beginning of 2017 is when I started paying attention to everything around me, and I started seeing all the news and just the unrest growing in the country, and I just couldn't understand why. So as I dove in and I started paying attention to Trump and seeing his wins and his policies, I started to see the way the media was covering it. I didn't like that. I felt like they should give him a fair shake. This is before I knew about fake news, right? I didn't know about that. But then I quickly learned, like, you guys are just lying about Trump. And I saw YouTubers calling it out and exposing it. And I felt like, why should they be the only ones talking about it? I should, jump in and give this thing another voice and let it grow. And so I just made a video one day and I figured, hey, if this works, it works. I may suck at this. Who knows? And then next thing I know, I had 1,000 subscribers, and then 10,000, and then 20,000, and it just kept on growing. So I started my YouTube channel officially in like March of 2018. So coming up on 2 years pretty quickly.
That's awesome. So you did it. Your first video approximately in 2017 is going to be almost what, 3 years now in
No,
2020.
2018.
2018.
2018 is, yeah, but
2018.
I was
Wow.
politically active. Like, I started paying attention to politics in 2017, right after Trump got elected.
Wow.
Sorry for that confusion.
Oh no, it's okay. You see, my life has been surrounding political life almost like since I was 10 years old. Unfortunately for me, where I grew up at, the political system was very different, and it was worse. And when you call about the dirty politics, inside the system. I grew up in Puerto Rico, and this is the people that will send a letter to you, married or spouse, and tell bad things about you just to, damage your political campaign. It was horrible, and my grandmother was involved in situations like this when she was running for political positions in Puerto Rico, but I was always involved in political parties in Puerto Rico. When I moved to the United States, I was not interested. I was like, I don't want to get into this. I was just doing my normal voting. And I used to vote more openly, right? Look at the candidates, be more less partial at the beginning of my young 20s, 20 something. But and a lot of people hate when I say this, but I got to be honest. I voted for Obama the first time. I was one of the first one. I was a Republican, but I felt for not McCain being the right candidate for me, right? But when he came to the second term, I already was like, this guy is not doing anything. He's not doing any of his promises, and I went and voted for Mitt Romney. Officially, I started doing this videos in 2016, the same year that Trump was running, and what impacted me personally was that I was working in a company in cyber crimes. And I work on the IT, and you and I discussed this briefly the first night we met, and seeing what happened with Hillary, and seeing the meeting people that had security clearances and all that, and understanding this whole process told me like there's something dirty behind this. This is not normal that you let a person just run through the spectrum of managing sensitive information and not be reliable like she was doing, and all these different things. So that's what made me start in this. And it's interesting because when I go to these events, we met so much people. We met Cameron that night. I met you, Cameron and I. We like in Facebook back and forward now too, and it's very impressive the different backgrounds that we all have. And we have one thing in common, right? That we want America to be better. And I appreciate you coming to my show today. So I got there late. I was there maybe 20 minutes, right? And we started, but it was very interesting because I tried to tell the story to my listeners yesterday, the story of how people approach us. That woman that approached us, and the question that she asked me initially was very strange. I don't know if you were there when she asked me, would you guys kill my nephew because he's gay? And I'm like, are you crazy? Like, what do people think of us, Mike?
I think what it is, they've been fed, an onslaught of PR and lies about conservatives, Republicans, white people, Christians. They think that we're the evil people in society. We're the ones that are trying to torment and terrorize everybody who doesn't look or think or act like us, when in reality, it's them doing it. And they're the ones that have all this power. So it surprises me not at all to see these protesters out asking ignorant questions like that. It just, nothing surprises me anymore, honestly. It's just when you see it in person, it's like, wow, this is real. I'm not just seeing it on TV. These people are actually walking around believing what they believe, and they're living their whole lives based on a lie that's been told to them, right? Like, there is nobody out there killing gay people. It's not true. I mean, it has happened before, but for the most part, nobody even wants to offend a gay person, let alone try to go any further than that. And so when they ask those ridiculous questions, that's how you know that the brainwashing and the propaganda and the mind control is effective. It's a very, very deep rabbit hole how we got here to where we are. And I try to cover some of that on my channel because a lot of YouTubers, conservative YouTubers, they stay like as far away from it as they can. They don't want to go down the Alex Jones path because of the dirty word conspiracy theorists. But it's like a lot of what has been talked about on Alex Jones' show has come to fruition. It's no longer a conspiracy theory. It is conspiracy fact. There's in fact, a deep state. It is true. It's visibly true. People can see it now. So the protesters are just the physical manifestation of all of the stuff that's been brewing for years and years and years, right? This goes back to like World War I, World War II, with the Marxists and stuff like that, communists. And they get there by demonizing people. And that's what they've done, is like, you have to create a bourgeoisie and a proletariat. And that's how you get the uprising. That's how you create the revolution. The French Revolution, that's how that happened.
Yep.
The Communist Revolution in Russia, the Bolshevik Revolution, and now the American Revolution, the
And
second American Revolution, really.
it's funny that you bring up this conversation, and people listening. We never planned this. This is things that he joined 1 minute before we started this show, and we didn't even plan what we were going to talk. And this information that is already in our brains because we study all this. We are reading up to this, and it's funny because I forgot the name right now, but I know one of Hitler's right hands used the propaganda of the media, and I think he killed himself. And before killing himself, I forgot his name. Mussolini, I think is his name, if I recall correctly. He used the power of the media to inflict propaganda and lie to people and control people. That's what they do, and this is what we see on a daily basis. 90-something% of the campaign, in any TV channel today, controlled by 6 companies, by the way, is negative. It's negative. It's information to continue manipulating the mind of people. This is a disgrace that we are in this position.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's scary stuff. And the thing is, people don't even realize it because from the time you're born to the time you become aware of the world, the TV is what you've already been consumed. So your subconscious mind has already been programmed with the optics that later turn into behaviors and beliefs and values. The world around you will shape you and impose its will on you if you let it. And most people just let it happen, or they're unaware that their brain is on autopilot. Half the people who are out at the thing outraged, they're only outraged because what they saw on TV or read online or their favorite celebrity tweeted is what made them outraged. They're literally just like wind-up dolls that you wind them up and you point them in a direction and they go in the direction. They don't question who's winding them up and why do they want them to go in this direction and not that direction. And that's the case from the time you're a kid. It's like nobody really thinks like, who controls what goes in a history book? Why do they get to control it? Yep. Why are they putting certain things in there? Why are they framing history such as this? We all know how they're going to put Donald Trump in history. They're going to put him in there with dictators if they haven't already done it, because the left controls academia. Academia is so important because it shapes our entire world. You think about how kids are being manipulated and abused and what they're being taught now that versus what we were being taught. Like I never would have imagined, like, I don't have kids yet, but when I have kids, I'm like going to homeschool them and protect them because I'm like, you're not going to school and learning all this crap where they're telling you like, oh, there's 40 genders and we're going to bring in this hairy this transgender drag queen person to read a book to you and stuff and all this weird nonsense. It's actually evil stuff, but that's how they control the masses. And then next thing you know, you grow up and you believe all of these lies and stuff. It's easier to lie to somebody than to convince them they've been lied to.
And you know what? It's so important what you're just saying right now because we got even people leaving the Democratic Party in masses right now. And one of the reasons that that bring the most is that same reason that they finally waking up to the fact that this is not the Democratic Party that they believed on, that it was a way to balance our political system and have different ideas. And it's a system that wants to impose their belief, their way of thinking. Otherwise, you got to shut down. They are really the fastest in this situation. You see what happened with Whoopi Goldberg recently in the View. That's exactly. And then they try to apologize. Oh, everything is cool between us after you shut her down. Even if I don't agree with McCain's daughter in a lot of things, she has the right to say whatever she wants and not be shut down the way that she's being shut down constantly on the View. And that is the real problem. They attacked us with what they really doing. They attacked the Trump with what they really doing. If we look back and the actual abuse of power that they doing right now with this impeachment process, what they did with the FBI, what they did with the Kavanaugh hearing, and all the information they hold back, and we could go back, with many things that they have done, and these people keep believing their point of, it's like you say, they're like cheaps, you know, they're like zombies that no matter which way the media say go, they will like, okay, I go in that direction, and they lie to them in that direction. Oh, go this direction. Yeah, I go that direction. You see that, and I don't understand how can people be so manipulated. What do they they have as brains? You know, why is it so easy to manage, you know, the mind of these people? Why?
Well, like I said, it is a very deep rabbit hole. And you notice it just came out recently that fluoride is actually bad for you. And fluoride lowers your IQ. And there's been people drinking fluoride in their waters, and, you know, they have low IQ. There's no other way to really say it other than there's a lot of low information, low IQ people. I don't think it's everybody who follows the mainstream media narrative, but a big chunk of them, a lot of those protesters, obviously very low IQ, extremely low IQ. You can tell because they don't think for themselves. They only care about what the media tells them to care about. And then they're not using their own vernacular. They're just saying whatever was pre-programmed, whatever they heard echoed to them, like kids in cages. The term kids in cages, they never used in their entire lives until they heard it on TV verbatim. They say, oh, kids in cages, Trump's caging children. That's all they know how to say. And those chants, those mindless chants, that they're like pull string dolls. Yep, they say the same 5 things over and over. Hey,
they don't analyze.
Ho, ho.
They don't even analyze what they're saying and why they're saying. If there was a reason behind that, like for example, that day that you and I were there arguing with this crazy woman that was, because the other guy was at least decent enough to have a conversation, the one that we went live with, but the woman was completely crazy, insulting us, and even called me a dumb. And that was funny enough. But anyway, so this is the kind of people, they don't sit down and have a conversation with you. They don't tell you, like, okay, so let's have the point. Why were this, you know, areas were built for? You know, what is behind that? Why when Obama built them, there was a reason for building them. I'm not saying that, you know, it was the right reason, but there was a reason. And the reason, it makes a lot of valid points why there was reason. They had to separate these kids from, and then different ages. There were thousands of these kids coming in. There were kids being dropped by their parents at the border without their parents, and they needed to put all these kids somewhere, and they needed to build this. When a person is arrested in this country, they take their kids away. They put them somewhere in a place, and we have to follow the law, and that's the thing, and they don't understand that. But
right,
I want to put this video, and it's very interesting because this senator, actually this representative actually decided to move parties, and he says something very interesting today when they ask him the reason why he decided, the reason why he left the Democratic Party. And I want to put this video because I think it's important to hear what he says.
Wouldn't go well. I guess what I say is I believe that this is just a better fit for me. This is who I am. It's who I always was, but there was more tolerance of moderate Democrats, of blue dog Democrats, of conservative Democrats, and I think that's going away. 2 more things I want to say. 1, you have my undying support.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And always.
And by the way, same way.
Thank you.
I'm endorsing him, okay? We're endorsing him. I can't speak for these 2 gentlemen, but I can say I'm endorsing him.
Thank you.
How do you feel about that, Mike? Are you okay?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Vice President.
We're together.
Thank you, Leader.
Thank you.
And the last thing I will say, one of my heroes, and he's always hung in my office, I have a bipartisan wall that has a lot of different people on there, Ronald Reagan. And when he said, I didn't leave my party left me.
Esas palabras, I didn't leave my party left me. Those words are, I think that part of the video consumes everything that we're trying to say. You know, the Democratic Party has become completely unhinged, completely out of, and we're going to discuss a few things about this press conference that Pelosi did today, saying now that they don't want to release the impeachment articles. We will discuss that now. But what you have to say about this, Mike, about his words about the Democratic Party leaving his roots, what it was started on?
Well, I mean, it's par for the course. Like eventually everybody's going to leave the Democrat Party because they continue to go as far left as they can. And when it seems like they're not far left enough, someone else puts out a bold idea or goes even further. And I said in my live stream earlier today that politics flows downstream from culture, right? Whatever is going on in the culture eventually will turn into public policy. And those politicians that want to get elected, they pander to the people in the masses to try to get their vote. So whatever that person puts out there and says, this is what I want to be accepted for, blah, 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 the politician has to appease it because they want power. So who's controlling the culture and causing it to go so far left? That's where you have to go down the rabbit hole and say, okay, this is by design. This is the Marxist infiltration that's causing all this division, right? Causing all the crazy chaos. That's why the left has veered so far. And it's also deeply rooted in evil. If you think about like how they're trying to normalize pedophilia, they want pedophilia to be seen as a sexual orientation. That's part of culture. How long before a politician says, you know what, we're going to decriminalize pedophilia. We're going to lower the age of consent, right? We're only 5 years removed from legalizing gay marriage. And now you have grown men showing their crotches to children in public libraries, no less. Mm-hmm. So that's what's happening. And eventually people who are just sane and normal, maybe they just like Democrats because they think, I believe in freedom and all this stuff. Maybe they have the wrong perception about the Democrat Party. Maybe they had no idea how the Democrats really operate because they've never really been on the right side of history. But maybe they just thought like, liberal is good, Republican's bad. And I'm just going to vote because I believe in welfare. We should help out the homeless. Cool, fine. That's okay. But eventually they start seeing all this craziness and they're like, wait a minute, I don't agree with any of this. And then next thing you know, they're disenfranchised from their party because if they speak out against it, they get labeled. The pitchfork mob goes after them. They get called bigots, racists, all this other stuff. And they're like, wait a minute, what happened? And then all it does is just open them up to Trump even more. Even if they don't like Trump, they're like, I'm not going to vote for somebody who wants to normalize this. Somebody who wants to decriminalize border crossings, somebody who wants to give free healthcare to illegal immigrants, somebody that wants to get rid of the Second Amendment and take away guns and all the crazy stuff, censorship. That's what the Democrat Party is now. So eventually everybody would leave it. At least that I would think. Yeah, at this point, there aren't people joining the Democrat Party. You don't see anybody saying, I'm a conservative, but I'm walking away and I'm going to join the left. That's not a thing. That does not exist, except for the fake, phony politicians that have been bought out, or they're just trying to score brownie points, or they see something that's politically expedient for them. That's the only reason that they're openly saying, oh, I can't support this fascist in the White House. I'm going to join the Democrats and grandstand. Those are fake people walking away. But there's no such thing. In my opinion, I don't think there's a single person in America that's flipping from conservative to liberal.
A true conservative would never do that. Let's be realistic. Ever. That's a point that I got to give it. And another issue that we've seen a lot is that they have infiltrated one of our most sacred areas, and it's our religion. They're trying to make our Judeo-Christian values as something that is not real, or trying to infiltrate that system and justifying all this illegal stuff and abortion and, like you said, gay marriage and many other things. And they are breaking from within our system and our religion and our belief, our country, because I think our country is founded based on that. And I think we have to try to help the people that are in front of those churches and religions to come back and show them their roots. Don't you think that is important, Mike?
I think it's tremendously important. I think it's the single most important thing is getting back to God, right? Putting God back in the schools, right? Taking out Satan, replacing it with God, because wherever they remove God, they're giving ground. They're giving ground to evil. It's just pure evil. There's no other word to call it but evil. And we have to call evil by its name. We have to call it out because that's what we're seeing right now. This is spiritual warfare. This isn't political warfare. This isn't economics. This is spiritual warfare. And the enemy knows, he knows how to be deceptive. The enemy is very deceptive. So we have to just get God back in the conversation, right? And I just think that's so important. That's why I go back to like academia and public education. We need private schools. We need homeschooling. There needs to be a lot more control over children at the parental level, not at the education level. Think about it. Kids spend 8 to 10 hours a day away from their parents, taking in all kind of stuff, eating sugary food, which is covered in glyphosate, which that's a whole nother story. There's a lot going on at the kid level, and it only takes like 20 years to destroy a country, which is pretty much a lifetime, you know, from the time a kid's born until they're an adult, your developmental years, that's all it takes. And, you know, you look around, that's what's happening. We have to get back to Christianity as a guiding principle. Christianity is, you notice, once they took God out of schools and they stopped saying the Pledge of Allegiance, that's when school shootings went up. They had to create an environment that was secular, and, you know, they removed the morality. They're pretty much just saying, like, create your own truth and all that stuff. I mean, once you have that nihilistic mindset, then you don't really see a problem with what's going on. And that's why the shootings and everything else has happened, because guns have been around for how long? And then mass shootings started happening right around like the mid to late 90s. That's when we start seeing an explosion of them.
Exactly. And let me ask you, I think this is important because you brought this up before about them calling us all the time conspiracy theorists. We always are the ones that are creating all these lies, all this you know, the deep state, and how the FBI intervened, and everything that has happened, you know, all the meetings between Mitsu, Alexander Downer. When we take all this information, we are the ones creating all this, right? But then you get an IG report that give us like complete validity of what we've been saying for, you know, years, but they hiding all this information from the masses. You know, the ones that we live in this world that are trying to inform ourselves, like, and try to, you know, read and read the IG report, read the FISA, even though it has 16 pages that are completely classified still. And that's why they were classified, because now we know that if they had unclassified that before, we will have figured out what really happened ourselves. We didn't have to wait for the IG. But when we get all this information now, that you don't see it on the masses, and you see this movement to try to hide all this with this impeachment, false impeachment, based on false information, and information that they didn't even let the other party defend himself. That is not how our system works. They didn't even let the third part of our government, you know, the justice system, try to, you know, separate that conflict between the executive and Congress. They didn't let anything like that happen. Why you think people continue to believe, even though we have that information out there, is because the media is taking like the position not to cover, and they believe the media that much?
I think that the truth is a value. You have to value the truth. You have to want to know that you are believing the truth and not a lie. So you have to actually value it. For example, when you go to these rallies and you tell them facts, you present them facts and evidence, and you have a sound argument, and it's logical, and you can show them video evidence, you can show them Google documents, whatever you show them. If they still reject it, that tells you that they don't value the truth. Wow. Right? It creates a fog in their mind. It's a cognitive dissonance. They're like, wait a minute, this is wrong. This is wrong. Even though I'm watching it on video, I'm watching Joe Biden say, well, he got fired. If he doesn't, you're not getting the money unless he fires the guy. You show them the video of Joe Biden saying it. They can't deny it. And yet they want to deflect, and they still do deny it. Instead of humbling themselves and saying, you know what, I've been believing a lie all this time, and I've been full of this anger, and someone just gave me the truth. As mad as they want to be, they need to know that the truth will set you free, right? The saying, the truth will set you free, but first it'll piss you off. That was me, right? I was believing a lie before I became like awakened, politically awakened. I was believing all kind of lies. And then when I learned the truth, it pissed me off. But I didn't resent the person delivering the truth. It just lit a fire under me that now I have a YouTube channel and I speak the truth and I tell other people that stuff. So people have to want to know the truth, but some people like to be comfortable just believing whatever they're told to believe. Like I said, you could go to one of these protests right now and lie on Trump. Like you could tell a lie about Trump. Like, yeah, you should hear what Trump did this time, right? That would be a fun little experiment to dress up like you're going to protest Trump and then go in there and spread misinformation amongst the liberals and watch it spread like wildfire. They wouldn't even push back on you. You could be like, yeah, I heard Trump said the N-word and they have it on tape. They would believe you. They'd be like, oh yeah, I know. I wouldn't doubt it. Yes. They wouldn't push back even a second because it's easier to lie to them than to go up and say, you know, Trump's not a racist, right?
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Exactly. You can go and lie to them and they'll eat it up because it already confirms what they believe. They don't want their beliefs challenged because they like that comfort. They like their brain on autopilot. They don't want to expand their mind. Once your mind expands, it does not shrink back to its original size. You have to use your brain like a muscle, and they don't like to do that. That's why I say it's like low IQ, it's fluoride, it's something else. Yep. Because the propaganda has been pushed out to everybody, but it didn't work on you and me.
Yep. Mike, two things. First, can you say your channel and how can people find you? A lot of people are commenting that they would love to follow you from my followers to find you. Please repeat that one more time so they know how to find you.
Yeah, it's Mike-nificent. So it's like saying magnificent, except Mike-nificent. So Mike and then Nificent. If you just type that into YouTube, you should get my backup channel too. But just subscribe to my main channel, Mike-nificent. And then if you want to find me on Facebook, it's just Mike-nificent813. Same with Twitter and Instagram.
Okay, I put it right here, Magnificent and YouTube, so people could find it. Okay, awesome. My next point is very interesting because I'm sometimes after I leave a place like what happened in Viera, I come back and I have like a recorded in my mind of what happened, and I just remembered the reaction of that woman that was screaming to me when I told her that I was Hispanic, and then I started talking Spanish to her. She was quiet for about 15 seconds in a shocking state. Like she couldn't believe that I was an Hispanic. And then she went to a very racist comment to me because not even knowing, where I'm from, even though I'm Hispanic, she actually says, go get your friends on the border. And I'm remembering that comment right now and going back to to what happened that day. And that's where you see the true color of this people. Because they are the real racists. When you go back through history, they're the ones who are trying to continue dividing us in silos. Like, you Hispanic people, I'm the one that could give you something. So wait for me right there. Black people, just wait right there because I'm the one that protects you. I'm the one that I'm here for you. And LGBT, hey, wait. I'm here for you too, but I'm letting all the Muslims control everything that they come in and they want to kill you and maybe even allow Sharia law. But you know what? Just wait for me right there. And this is the hypocrisy of this party continue to divide us. And I'm going back on this conversation that day, and I'm remembering that she says, go back and tell your friends or something to that offense, point in the border. I'm not Mexican. I don't have to cross any border. And even though I do have Hispanic friends that, are Mexicans and Venezuelans, Colombians and Cubans for that matter, that doesn't mean that I got to go to the border for doing anything, So that was a completely offensive posture. And that's what they do. They call you sellout. How many things did they have called you when you go to these rallies? Because I know you met Will Johnson. You met a lot of these people. You probably been in rallies with them, with the people from InfoWars and all that. So how many names have they called you to this point?
Well, a lot of the names I get called are online by keyboard warriors in their mom's basement. People that can just hide behind the keyboard like cowards and say stuff. It's very rare that people in public will outright call me a sellout or whatever. But at this rally, this particular one we were just at, they were very close to saying it. I could tell, like, you're about to say something that's gonna make you look really bad, and they stopped short of saying it, but they still went. They went and said, "You need to educate yourself. You're not smart. You're not thinking for yourself," which is so deeply racist because they're basically saying they have expectations of me based on my skin color. They're like, "Get back in line. You belong over here with me, and I'm going to shame you in public because I think you're uneducated because you're not allowed to have that opinion. You're not allowed to support Donald Trump. You're not allowed to like Republicans. You're not allowed to like freedom. Your freedom comes through me." That is the white liberal mindset. That has always been the white liberal mindset. That's why I say they always lie about the party switch. Oh my God, there was a party switch.
Exactly.
Why? Because a textbook told you there was. Where's the evidence of it? There's no evidence that Democrats have never been racist. There's no evidence that they stopped becoming racist, that they stopped being racist. Sorry. They've been racist from the beginning. They've always controlled with the same tactics. They use fear. They always use these like, what do I call them? Like buzzwords that keep people in a perpetual state of dependence. They always use words like racism, white supremacy, because those words create this like Pavlovian dog-like response in blacks and Hispanics because they know that if you're emotional, you can be controlled. It opens up a portal to your self-conscious mind or your subconscious mind. And the next thing you know, they're controlling you. They just pour it in propaganda. And with the white liberals at the protest, yeah, they were saying all kind of stuff. You were paid to be there and all
Yes.
this. While we're talking about these protesters, I want to bring this up because I was talking to one of the other ladies that was on our side, and she said, "Did you notice the way that those protesters were dressed?" She said they had on flip-flops, they had on shorts, some of them had umbrellas, like they were dressed as though they were on vacation. She said that's interesting because everyone else was wearing jeans and looked like they lived in Florida. And she did some research and then digging around, and apparently they were bussed in. If you notice the women there, none of them had purses. So women don't leave their purses in the cars, right? So where were their purses? So she found out that and I don't know if she said that this is absolutely what happened or if it's just speculation, but she thinks that because we're so close to Port Canaveral, she thinks that they sent a charter bus over to the terminal, the port terminal, the cruise terminal, and bring those protesters over because some of them weren't even U.S. citizens, like the Australian woman.
Yeah, the Australian woman. That's right. You're right.
Yeah,
Absolutely
and it's like,
correct.
where are these people? You guys all live in Brevard County?
We even
Like,
asked
where
her.
did you come from?
Now that you mentioned that, we even asked her. It's a good point that you bring this because we actually asked her if you were an American, and she replied no. She said
she's
no
Australian.
because she was an Australian. I remember that conversation. That makes so much sense now because I think there were about 120 people from, if we count, maybe 75. Let's not be about 75 people from their side, and from our side we're like about 50 people. And I'm like, where are all these people? Because I'm gonna tell you, I love living in Brevard County because it's a true conservative county.
I love Brevard County.
I love Brevard County because of that reason. I'm like, there shouldn't be not a lot of protesters there. And sure enough, there were about 75 people. And that makes a lot more sense now, that you bringing that to the table. So I was going through the process of explaining this with the IG and all the lies. And one of the big lies that the Democrat have said since day one is that they're going to remove Trump from office. Like even before he was completely the candidate in April, they were already talking April 2016 about possible impeachment if he became the candidate. But it's funny because yesterday they vote to impeach him. Now they got the opportunity to move forward and remove him from office, and now they hold him back the articles of impeachment and don't want to send them to the Senate. So you tell you base all the people that you will do anything to get Trump out. Now that you got the possibility of taking the impeachment to the Senate, even though you know it's going to fall in the Senate. But are you going to tell your base now that you're not going to send the article forward, or because this was all a show? And I have Nancy Pelosi herself saying this, and I'm going to put that video, and then we're going to have a conversation about this, Mike.
Let me just put it another way. We have legislation approved by the Rules Committee that will enable us to decide how we will send over the articles of impeachment. We cannot name managers until we see what the process is on the Senate side, and I would hope that that will be soon, as we did with our legislation, our Resolution 660, to describe what the process would be. So far, we haven't seen anything that looks fair to us, so hopefully it will be fair, and when we see what that is, we'll send our managers.
What is a fair trial? What would you consider a fair trial? Wait to send the articles until you understand what the Senate's going to do?
We'll make a decision as a group, as we always have, as we go along.
So you can presumably withhold the articles. You can presumably withhold the articles for weeks until you get what you consider a fair trial.
Well, again, we'll decide what that dynamic is.
This was a very, very, very important question from one of the reporters, and they asked him, so you're going to hold the articles impeachment until you get what you deserve, like what they want? Isn't that quid pro quo? Like the same thing they're accusing President Trump of doing, and you know, they want to do it now. That they're not going to release the article of impeachments unless they get what they want. Isn't the same thing?
Yeah. This is all by design. Again, this was planned. This was pre-planned. Going back to 2016, when Hillary was so confident, she's like, "I got this." They printed the cover, "Madam President."
Yep.
Right. And then next thing you know, they lost, and they've been on this tirade, this crusade against this president, which is really a crusade against us because we're the ones who put him in there. Right. So they did that. And now they're just continuing down that path. Right. Their goal is removal. And it's a very, very dangerous thing. Like, I can't overstate how dangerous the president is that they're setting with this, because you're going to have at some point a civil conflict. It's going to happen. It's already basically happened.
Yep.
Right. People have taken to the streets. There's been countless numbers of brawls and, all that stuff with the Proud Boys and Antifa. And it's just getting worse. Exactly. It just continues to happen. So them withholding that information, I could just sit watching that little clip. I could just sense it in my bones. I can sense it. I can sense the evil in the air.
I got a theory why they're holding it. What they did these days, if you notice, every day that they did hearings and votings, and it had to do something close to or the day off where we were releasing information about the IG hearings or things of that nature that they need the media to concentrate in their the mainstream media, if we want to call it, in their point of what they doing, deviating from the bad news that is coming. There is a lot of reports that Durham and AG Barr and all those people for the spring, about March time frame, they're going to be releasing a lot of new information and possible indictments in all this investigation that they're doing, because they cannot hold too much close to the elections, because then they will be interfering with the election. There's a lot of news about that. My theory is that they holding these articles to try to push this and deviate, the mainstream media to push, they released the impeachments, now it's the Senate, and, try to deviate from the media from that, because they're using this as a political tool. There's no there. Let's be realistic. Like, there was no there in the investigation that they knew from January 2017 that there was nothing. The Mueller investigation was completely baseless to do it. They already knew, the FBI knew that all this information was false. They spent close to $40 million of our money, of our taxpayer money, in an investigation that was not even needed. And I think they're using that as a cover-up So they play the game. They are waiting to know when these reports are coming, when they're gonna interview Durham, when they're gonna bring Durham to all these committees, and they're gonna play the game. I think that's what they're trying to do.
Yeah, this is what they've been doing. This is you notice this whole Ukraine thing. When did it start? When did it come up? Right after Epstein. Right after they were about to, that would have brought down the whole entire house of cards with Jeffrey Epstein. As soon as he turned up dead, right? Dead. They brought this out, right? And now they're like, hey, media, go with this, run with this. Let's bury the Epstein story. And now, yeah, you're right. They're doing the same thing. All this really does is just stoke the whole notion of the QAnon thing that, oh, Trump is going to take down the deep state. I know some people say, oh, no, Trump's part of it. Trump's part of it. Yeah, right. There's no way Trump is a part of this. They hate him and they hate the people who elected him. Why would Trump be a part of it if the whole thing was Hillary's going to get elected? Why wouldn't they just put Hillary in office?
It's very
right?
simple.
Trump wasn't supposed to get elected.
Exactly.
That's the point.
Trump was not
Donald
supposed,
Trump was
to
supposed to get elected.
be elected because they can control Trump. You see, one big difference is that Trump got in there and they say, I got my money. I'm a billionaire. You cannot tell me what to do. I'm going to do everything my way in the way I think it should be done. And that's why we voted for him. We didn't vote for him for him to be part of a system. We wanted him to do the things that he said he was going to do. And he's been doing them. And that's the big difference. And they don't like that. They don't like that they can't control him on this relationship with other countries. They don't like him that he's not a globalist like them. They always afraid of everything that he's doing with China, with Canada, with the other countries, and all these countries at the end of the day come back to agree to what he's saying. Look, the deal that he just signed with China, how this is going to be beneficial. He had the patience. He waited for China. For China, do whatever you want to do. At the end of the day, you're going to do it my way. Or I'm going to put the tariff and we see what's going to happen. Who's going to suffer the most, right? I want to put this video because this video came out today also. And what these Representative James Clyburn said at the end of this interview, if he had been said from Obama or any black person in this country, this will be all over the news. You will be having like major hysteria, and and all these things, and they just ignore completely what he says.
How long are you willing to wait?
As long as it takes. Even if he doesn't come around to commit into a fair trial, keep those articles here. So keep it as long as it takes. If you know and he's told you what he's going to do, it's almost like let's give him a fair trial and hang him. I mean, it's the verse of that.
As long as it takes, are you willing to hold?
Let's give him a fair trial and let's hang him. If anyone used that term, that hang term for Obama, that will be the end of it. If any representative has said that about Obama, that will be the end of that representative. The outrage will be crazy. But someone said it about Trump, and it's okay. It's like the video. I don't know if you heard the news of the video of this. I think it's 4 or 5 girls that beat up this white kid because he had a Trump hat. The prosecutor just said that it's not a hate crime. They're not going to prosecute it as a hate crime. What they waiting for it to be a hate crime at the end? It's only, only if white people do something to black people is the only way that it's going to be a hate crime in this country.
Yeah, they don't care. They pretend to care. I call them out all day. I have so much fun calling out the hypocrisy, the double standards, the fakeness. They claim to care about everything. We care about kids. We care about this. We care about that. Don't you say this word. But as soon as it's their side, they're like, huh? That never happened. I didn't see that. Or they'll be like, well, that was different. It was different when Obama caged children because he wasn't mean on Twitter, right? I'm like, I thought you cared about the kids in cages. Why do you care about the person who caged the kids? If you care about kids in cages, you should be principled and, apply it across the board. They don't care. Just like they don't care about victims of shootings. They care about their agenda. They care about their narrative. They never care about it. When the last, 3 to 4 mass shooters were Asian, Black, Hispanic, they bury the story. They're like, wait, we can't run with this. We can't blame white people. We can't blame Trump supporters. We can't blame the NRA. It's in a Democrat stronghold, so there's already gun control, so we can't push legislation. They can't do anything, so they just bury it. And then all that does is wake more people up. They're like, wait a minute, why don't you care about these people? Like, do their lives not matter because they're white and they got killed by a Black person? You only care if it's a Black person? You know, it's like, that's how they are. And as far as that guy saying, let's hang him, yeah, it's a hypocrisy. Like, they claim to care. If any white person on the planet said that in context or out of context, they would flip out. They'd be like, that person needs to be jailed. We need to destroy their entire life. Anybody they ever met, we're going to shame them. That's how they roll. And I'm tired of it.
That's the double standard. And even on their press, you see that. That's why I bring this video right now, because I want you to see how Pelosi tells the reporters, I don't want to answer no more questions regarding impeachment. And if you are, I'm leaving. Like, and all these reporters, like, okay, like, they don't insist. Like, when you see, like, the end of a press report with any Trump person, they will continue screaming questions. No, they shut down because Pelosi told them that's the last question in impeachment. Check this video and then check how Pelosi, like, this points that you don't even understand what she's saying. Well, that's almost all the time, but in this case, it's worse.
Do you run the risk, as some Republicans have said, of looking like you're playing games with impeachment if you hold on to these articles for too long?
I said what I was going to say, Nancy. When we bring the bill, which is, just so you know, there's a bill made in order by the Rules Committee that we can call up at any time in order to send it over to the Senate and to have the provisions in there to pay for the impeachment. And then the next step, whatever you want to call it, the trial. That is where you put the managers. I was not prepared to put the managers in that bill yet because we don't know the arena that we are in. Frankly, I don't care what the Republicans say. Any other question? Not on this subject. I've said this is it. I honored Nancy.
This.
Dude, she has dementia. I'm sorry. She needs to be. I'm sorry. I'm just going to say it. She needs to be in jail probably because her net worth is like 300 million or something like that. She's corrupt to the bone, just like Maxine Waters, just like all of those corrupt politicians in DC. This is an illegal coup d'etat to remove a president that was duly elected. This pisses me off. I'm so mad about it because, we knew this was coming.
Mike, the problem is that the Trump is getting too close to them. And that's why they push so hard, because we all know the reports that people related to her are related to this Ukraine situation. People related to Schiff and all the people that are around this situation they are related. They are in some way implicated in this scandal, and they don't want this scandal. They want the scandal to go under the rug, like they did with the FISA thing, like they did with the FBI. Oh, nothing happened with the FBI. The FBI was saint. They didn't violate any FISA. Even Alan Schiff did a report contradicting the Nunez and Graham report, completely contradicting it, saying that it was false. And at the end, we find out that everything is true. And that's what they playing a game, man. And it's like you said, in a way, get us mad because it's like we can't do nothing from a pacific and normal way. We can't do nothing right now except from voting on November 3rd. And that's why I tell all the people that listen to me, if it says red Republican, even if you don't agree 100% with their policies, vote for that person. Don't change your vote because you don't agree 100%. If it's red, vote for it. It's important. We saw that right now with this impeachment vote.
Yep. And that's exactly what I'm telling people in my sphere of influence is two things can be true at the same time. You can dislike Donald Trump as a person and realize that he is the best possible option for 2020. You can hold your disdain. You could be like, I don't like Trump. I'm not getting a MAGA hat, blah, blah, blah. I don't like him. But you can still circle his name in 2020. You can still vote for Trump in 2020 because the left is insane. They're evil. They're corrupt. They're Satanists. And I really believe that the Jeffrey Epstein thing was going to expose all of it. They're all complicit in this. They're all connected to it. Guaranteed, top to bottom, from Hillary Clinton to Maxine Waters, Nancy Pelosi, all the Democrats in Congress. Look at these pedophile donors like Ed Buck, donated to Adam Schiff, never got arrested, took 3 people dying in his apartment for him to get arrested. Adam Schiff, there's a whole story about this guy. There's a whole bunch of stuff that there's an undercurrent of corruption. And that's why I say QAnon, all that stuff has to be true, because Trump, the more that Trump is getting closer to what they're going to do, take them down, the more they're panicking. Exactly. Like I said, right after the Epstein thing, boom, here comes this, Ukraine scandal. But see, Trump's already a couple steps ahead of him. Like, here's the transcript. Nothing wrong. What are you talking about? Exactly. He's leading them on. He's already ahead of them. But I'm telling you,
the chess master. In my show, I call him the chess master. He plays them so well in every corner, because sometimes you think he's losing and you may think that you grab his queen, but he's going to come back, get his queen, and do a checkmate. So people are thinking, and before we leave, I got 4 minutes, and I think it's imperative from your point of view that you tell the people how much Trump has done for the black minority in this country, because I know, a lot of people don't listen from the people that are really affected. I know that I've been affected, but what Trump has done from a policy perspective that helps you and your community?
Well, obviously the lowest unemployment rate ever. A lot of these trade deals and factories coming back to places like Gary, Indiana. The prison reform is huge, and criminal justice reform needed to happen a long time ago, right? Quite frankly, I'm so happy that Trump is finally the one to do it. What else? He's got the criminal justice thing is huge. That's a big one.
The opportunity zones, the 401k thing, I think that affects us directly, all minorities. Opportunity zones in the inner cities, giving money to the HBCUs. He's giving them more money than they've had. Like, Obama defunded the HBCUs, took money away. Trump gave money back to the HBCUs. It's a long list of things. I've lost track of all the things that this president has done. The economy that affects all of us,
for everybody.
The economy affects all of us. Like the numbers that we are seeing, the number of businesses that are being opened by minorities, blacks, Hispanics, and all minorities. I think it's 4 million plus 400% less. 4 million plus less people in welfare. We see every area being improved. And then because of that is why they want impeachment, because they don't have a way to stop his winnings. They don't have a way to stop what he's doing, and I think that's the only reason they saw his approval number. He saw all the information is coming out. The Epstein thing is what's going to kill them. The IG report is going to kill them. The Durham report is going to kill them. By the time that we come out with all this information, there will be no Democratic Party, like you said. Like, I think everyone would be abandon the Democratic Party, abandon the ship. Mike, thank you so much for being with us, man. I hope that this is not the first and last time you join. The last time that you join us. I think we could collaborate a lot. You're fantastic. A lot of people liked you from this side, and they wanted your page. So say your page one more time so people could follow you before we disconnect to them.
Yeah, Mike-nificent. So Mike and then NIFICENT, just like saying magnificent. If you type that in on YouTube, my channel will pop up. If you type in Mike-nificent 813 on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, I'll pop up there. You can also find me on BitChute. And then if you want to email me, my email address is mikenificent813@gmail.com.
Thank you, Mike, for joining us so well. So today it was a great conversation. Again, we're going to probably do this a lot more times now and be a little bit more prepared next time too. But It was a pleasure having you here. And the truth is the truth. La verdad es la verdad. And remember, the truth is the truth, even if no one wants to believe it. And the lie continues to be a lie, even if everyone believes that lie. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. And I will see you tomorrow. God bless.
God bless.